The Adjudicator is one of the most polarizing weapons in Helldivers 2, in that if you Google it, you're going to get a bunch of people who tell you that it's the worst weapon ever, and if you Google it, a bunch of people will tell you it's the best weapon ever. It can't simultaneously be both, so let's take an unbiased look at it and answer, is the Adjudicator actually good? I'll put my biases up front as always. I am team Adjudicator is not a good weapon. I never used it, never touched it, so in order to get the most out of the experience, I first looked up the guides on like the best armors to use it with and the best people to use it against, just to make sure that I'm using it in like its optimal way, to make sure that we're giving it a fair shake. And let me start off by saying that if this weapon is in absolute perfect conditions, like you're using it absolutely right and you have everything set up how it should be, it is an absolute blast. And that's ultimately the goal for the game, right? Is to have fun. So if the weapon is a ton of fun, then it's successful in that way that it is fun. And it absolutely blasts the heads off of the automatons. Again, in perfect conditions, if you can just sit there and take pot shots and hit their head, they just pop, and that is so satisfying. It's the same thing with the bugs, that if you're in a good position where you're far enough away from them that they're not threatening you and you can just sit down, you can do like the crouching with the crouch armor and take the shots at them, you will delete bugs so fast. And while the gun does have a fully automatic mode, that is not always the right mode to use, of course, because it has a huge kick, and that is why people recommend that you use the armor that reduces recoil while you're prone or crouching, simply because the recoil on it is so great. But the recoil doesn't matter too much when things are too close to you. When you have a bunch of enemies swarming you, you pop it into full auto and it will delete everything in front of you pretty reliably, and that's pretty fun too. It also has an adjustable scope that can adjust from 50, 100, and 150 meters, which allows you to zero in to really get those headshots from a distance. This is kind of like a sniper rifle or a designated marksman rifle in that it kind of fills a bunch of roles and it does them pretty well. Again, when you're using it in good conditions, it absolutely slaps enemies down like nothing. So with all that said, that's a lot of positive things. Why do people hate on it? Well, the answer to that comes in the form of the recoil we mentioned. This gun has kick. It kicks like a mule. It has some of the worst recoil probably in the entire game. So if you're not used to that, you don't know how to compensate for it, you don't know how to use the weapon, you're going to miss a lot and it's going to feel really bad. And let's be honest, I talked about how great the gun is in perfect conditions, but how often are you really in perfect conditions in Helldivers 2, especially on a level 10 super dive? I can't tell you how many times I've been diving and enemies are dropped right on top of me where I would prefer that they're a little bit farther away so that I can snipe at them. Or that there's trees or jungle or biome or other things in the way so that I can't get the shot that I want to make. And so with this lack of actual perfect conditions, often you'll find yourself not really enjoying the gun or using it to its full potential and wishing you had something else. When you constantly have enemies dropping on you, you wish you had a drum magazine, or you wish you had the breaker spray and pray or the breaker incendiary to just pop everything in front of you. The magazine on this weapon is fairly small. You will feel like you're reloading all the time. And we did get some armor that helps with that. You can see here I'm wearing the Battlemaster armor so I can get that recoil reduction when I'm prone, but we also have the fortified armor that gives you a little bit faster reload and more magazines. That also pairs super well with this armor, or weapon, excuse me. Now what do I think of it? If I'm setting my biases aside, would I use this weapon? And if I'm being honest with myself, I'm going to say no, but I don't necessarily know that's a fault of the Adjudicator. It can do so much and it can do it well. I even learned, because I'd never used it really before, did you know it can blow up spores? But as the facts are, there's just no reason for me to ever unequip the crossbow, especially for this gun. Because yes, this gun does great at popping heads, but so does the crossbow, which has AoE on top of it. Yes, this gun has range, but the crossbow also has range, if not even more range. The crossbow is also one-handed, and it can blow up fabricators and UFOs and bug holes. And I'm sure you all get tired of me gloating about the crossbow and how much I love the crossbow on this channel, but that's how I compare everything too, because the crossbow is the absolute pinnacle. It is the best weapon with the best utility, so every other single weapon has to be held to that standard, and when they fail to meet it, the question is, well, why would you not use the crossbow? I also don't like having to equip very certain armor to use a weapon, whether it be the fortified or the battle ready armor you see I'm wearing here. As you know from my previous videos, I absolutely love the Butcher armor, I have medic armor, I love the extra stims, I love the invulnerability. I have so much fun running into the middle of the thick of it and just never, ever, ever, ever dying. It's so much fun for me, and that's how I prefer to play. So again, I compare it to the crossbow, where the crossbow doesn't require any recoil reduction armor, it doesn't require battle ready armor, it doesn't require fortified armor, and it asks me, well, why would I want to put on extra armor and lose an extra slot for something just for a primary gun when I can use the crossbow and be even more effective and have any armor that I want? And ultimately, I think that's why this gun is so stigmatized and why you see so many people say that it's the worst gun ever. Because they drop in not understanding what the gun does, what the role fulfills, they use it on the wrong map, they don't have the right armor selected, and they use it one time and say, wow, this thing kicks so hard in all these bad conditions and it doesn't work, I'm never touching this again. And the fact of the matter is that you can make it work, but should you have to make it work? There's very few primary weapons I can think of that you should have to wear certain armor for, that you should have to do certain things to make it work. And certainly you cannot wear that armor and come in unprepared, but as you've seen, most people don't like the weapon when they come in unprepared with it. So it's for those reasons I'm going to agree that this is not really a good weapon. It is fun. I'll go back to what I said at the very start. It is really fun in those perfect conditions. But I just don't find myself in those perfect conditions often enough to justify bringing the weapon, and again losing all the utility that comes with bringing the crossbow. But to be honest, if I'm asking myself, okay, how would I solve the problem? If I don't think the weapon is in a great place, how would I bring it up to that level? I really don't think any gun should be brought up to the level of the crossbow. As much as I love the crossbow and I'd be upset if they nerf it, I think this is one of those rare situations where they simply can't bring other weapons up to the level of the crossbow. Unless every weapon gains the ability to close bug holes and fabricators and destroy the UFOs, there's simply nothing that's going to be on the same level as the crossbow, except for maybe the Eruptor, but that's a conversation for a different time. But if the Adjudicator did all those things, it closed the bug holes and it had a little bit of AoE on it, I certainly would be using it way, way, way more. Here I thought it would be really cool if I was able to sticky grenade a gunship with a thermite grenade. As you can see, I was not able to hit that shot. I thought it would be really cool for the video though, so I tried. Back on topic, I don't want every weapon to feel the same, and that's why I'm saying I think that the crossbow needs a nerf, and that will bring some other weapons really up into a new tier when you lose a little bit of that utility, because as it stands, it's just way too powerful as it is, and I don't want to see every weapon get a little bit more power creep. Alright, we've reached that point of the video where I've said my piece, I've said my unpopular opinion, I've done my analysis, so now it is your time to participate. As always, if you disagree with me, put it down in the comments down below and tell me how much you love the Adjudicator and how I am not good with it, and that is the problem here. I am fully anticipating a lot of people saying it's simply a skill issue, and I don't disagree with that to a degree. I see a lot of people, as I said, who grab the gun once, they use it, they see the recoil, they hate the recoil, and they never touch it again. That is a skill issue, but the issues do run deeper than just simply the skill issue. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, it helps me a lot, and also lets me know if you want more in-depth analysis of individual weapons rather than doing the higher overviews I typically do, or like the stratagems overall. I kind of want to deep dive into every single weapon, and I'd like your thoughts on it. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a blessed day.